Hey everybody, Vicky here, the Words Lady, and today I have Stacie Winkfield with us. And I wanted
Yes.
to have Stacie come on because, as my coach says all the time, the people who are best suited to answer questions about your program are the ones who have gone through it already. So Stacie went through
Absolutely.
Easy Writer. Gosh, it was September. You got to correct me.
Last year.
September 2017, right? So I
Yes.
would love for you to share a little bit about your experience there. But maybe first off, how you decided and how you chose Easy Writer, because I know there's other choices out there.
Yeah. And actually, before I met you, I had interviewed book coaches previously. Um, there was the first book coach I interviewed, they were a marketing team. And basically, you could pay for them to write your book for you. Me personally, I knew I had a story that I wanted to share, and I wanted to keep the creative juices and me in that story. So I just didn't want to hand it over for somebody else to take it away from me and write it from me. Like it wouldn't even sound like it came from me.
Yeah.
So I decided that that wasn't the best option for me. And then I just felt like, yeah, it can be boosted to bestseller, but then, what after that? Like it was really important to me for my book not to just be another book on a shelf or on a coffee table. Use People are using it as a coaster, whatever. So I wanted to make sure that not only my message got out to people that I knew it would help, but that it got out to the most people in the most effective way. And then I interviewed another coach, and it was just really funny because she was professional on one of her pages, and on her other page and other things, she was really unprofessional. And I wanted to associate my brand with somebody who was professional on all fronts, somebody who had integrity on all fronts, somebody who had their stuff together, right? Who was 20 steps ahead of me, who had their stuff together on all fronts. And so I remember talking to
Mm-hmm.
Quentin McCain, who is a speaker as well. And he said, "Hey, I know this little Asian chick." And I said, "You do?"
I didn't know he said that.
And he did. He said, "I know this little Asian chick that does book coaching." And I'm like, "Really?" And he sent me your information, and I went to your website. And to be honest, I knew I needed a coach. I knew I needed somebody to hold me accountable. I knew that I wanted my book to come out. I was just looking for the person who I wanted to help me. And I knew I was going to hire you before we even got on the call. So luckily it ended up being a fantastic program, but that's how that all worked out.
Oh, that's funny. So tell me
Yeah.
a little bit more about like when you were looking for things in a program, what specifically did you want and did you get out of Easy Writer?
There was things that I wanted, and there was things that I got that I didn't even know that I needed. Right. So what I wanted, I was scared. I never wrote a book before. I'm not great at English, like in class and schoolwork, and I think if we're not excelling in high school or college, like to write a book is a big deal. So I wanted somebody to help me with the structure of the book. I knew that. I wanted somebody to assist me in how to put it together, editing process and things like that. What I didn't know that I needed was how to put a message in the book to attract the people who I wanted to read it. And even after that, I knew I wanted to help people from this book,
Mhm.
but I didn't even think far enough to think, how am I going to get those people to see me? Like, how am I going to reach those people? How are they going to reach me? And so that was all the extra bonuses and juicy stuff that I didn't even know that I needed. And then there was the setting up the book, online, and building a launch and the strategy within that. I mean, it was so much that I didn't know that I needed that was in your program.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love how you said somebody who's not great at English, because I get that a lot. Like people are like, but what if I'm not really good with this? Or what if I
Hmm.
didn't excel? So this is something that people can do even if they don't feel like they're the best at English or their grammar's not the best or anything like that, right?
Right. I mean, you have people who are dyslexic who are writing books.
Mhm.
Lisa Nichols, best-selling author,
Yeah,
functionally dyslexic to
right.
this day. So I just, you're going to have to brain dump,
Mhm.
like don't worry about what you're writing, just get it out your head. And then so many people are worried about going from one chapter to the next and it flowing seamlessly. And then they allow that to block them and choke them up on the process. Don't get choked up on the process. Just keep going.
Yeah.
So that, and then it's like, and then you got a little crazy Asian lady in the back running behind you saying, give me your book. Where's your book? And holding you accountable, to like holding you accountable to your dates, holding you accountable to your time,
Mhm.
and making sure that you put in it what you're going to need. So I needed that. Like I needed that. And
You
somebody
needed
to
the
say
kick in
along
the
the
hiney.
way, it's okay. Yeah. And somebody to say it's okay if it's not perfect.
That's right.
And
The,
it
the
was a big,
sorry.
no, I was just going to say it was a big fear of mine that nobody would want to read my book.
Oh.
Right? Like, who am I to write this?
Mhm.
And I remember calling you on the phone and like crying. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
And one of the best parts about your coaching program is I think I was stating some limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
And I stated one about myself, and you asked me, you said, is that true?
Yeah.
And it made me think, I'm like, is it true? you know Maybe it's not. Maybe this is a story I'm telling myself. So
Mhm.
sorry,
Yeah, and
taking over the line.
you just as clarification, you actually upgraded your Easy Writer to get some one-on-one coaching with me, which other people can do with the program as well. So that's why Stacie was calling me on the phone. Otherwise, when we are in Easy Writer, we have group calls and we have stuff inside the things.
Right.
So what about the technical aspects? Because I think sometimes people get scared, like they don't do tech, and so the whole idea of self-publishing scares them.
Um, I hate tech. I hate it, hate it, hate it. I will hire somebody to do. I've tried hiring Vicky to do things for me, but she won't. So I mean, the thing about it is it was step by step. It was laid out in the module, like click here, type this in, you know, like loading the book to Amazon. And the best part was the categories. Like, who knew? And you walked us through that step by step. And just so it made it really simple and really easy. I didn't even have to call you on the phone for that
No, you did not, and I'm so proud of you.
one. I didn't.
All right, so to wrap it up, since your book has been out and since it's become a bestseller, what has opened up for you from writing this book?
Well, a lot of things open up, but the biggest thing for me, a lot of things opened up externally, but the biggest thing for me was internally, how I show up in the world, the value that I know that I had when I entered a room, my ability to speak to people out of a place of authority
Mhm.
because I knew what I knew, because I had the book behind me to say, hey, this is evidence. This is who I am. But externally, it was opportunities for podcasts, it was clients, it was going to speaking engagements, and like my book gave me the grit, gave me the strength, and gave me the courage to move forward and make business decisions that I wouldn't have normally made. I didn't know before
Mhm.
how my business could tie into a book,
Yeah.
you know and I got so much from the book that I use my whole coaching experience in my life on a day to day, every day.
Mhm.
So
I forgot to ask you, before you started and before you started putting yourself out there that, hey, I'm writing this book and you were marketing and all that stuff, how many followers did you have? And then after, like during the launch, how many did you have by then by following the plan to market your book?
Um, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but I do remember holding back and not marketing myself because I, it was kind of a thing, but still I had this fear, right? And I wasn't really sure what people wanted to say, but I went from, like, I could tell you that my email list went from 0 to, in the hundreds. And my
You looked out.
I know, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So my followers from the book grew tremendously. Like, I had people ranting and raving about my book before it even hit bestseller. And I
Mhm.
love telling this story because we're in Atlanta
Yeah.
at Speak and Write, and we're in the lobby, and somebody who I've never met in my entire life
Mhm.
calls me out by the name of my book.
Yes. Breaking
Like,
Daily.
right, out of nowhere. And I'm like, how does this person know me? And the book isn't even out yet. And that's the kind of buzz that it attracted
Yeah.
following the program.
Yeah. I love that story too. I've told it before myself.
Right. Somebody just yells out your book title and not your name. You're like, what? Who?
Yeah.
Who? That sounds familiar.
I know,
So,
right?
I mean, like, when you have people showing you love like that before the book even comes out, you're
Uh-huh.
like, uh-oh, you know, it's going to be big.
Yeah, you're creating the buzz like Hollywood. Yay.
Yeah.
Right. So, if somebody has been hesitant to write their book, or like somebody who's like had that on
Mm.
their New Year's resolution every year for the last 5 years, what would you say to them?
Um, I would say that your your biggest success is pushing through your procrastination,
Mhm.
and making it happen now. It can't be tomorrow. It can't be, a week from now, because the longer and longer we give ourselves, the longer and longer we get comfortable, and then next thing you know, your next year is looking like your last year.
Mm,
So in order to make a change, you have to make that change right now, today. And no matter what it is that you want, you find a way to get it if you really want it. And I had gotten to the point that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was like, I'm going to do this thing by any means necessary. And that means on all fronts. That means making the time. That means making the financial commitment. That means making the investment in myself. I decided today is the day I'm going to show up for me.
mhm. And
Yeah.
what would your life be like if you didn't have this book? Like, it's been a year, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my life would be, it'd be miserable, because every day you walk around, it'd be miserable because every day you walk around with a dream in you. It's like you're pregnant and you're waiting to go into labor, and you walk around and wondering why your water hasn't broke yet. And it hasn't broke because you haven't taken action. Give yourself a little Pitocin and let that baby come out. Just saying. It's truly every day that I was not living at my fullest potential felt like I was dying a little bit on the inside,
No.
literally.
Yeah.
So now through my book, I can live, like, I can breathe. Like, I don't have to be tied down to a job that I really hate.
Mhm.
Like, who doesn't want autonomy and freedom and the ability to create and serve people in the world? Like, who doesn't want
Right.
that?
Right.
So,
You get to live forever in those words. Just think about it. Like, long after you're gone, those.
right. Oh, and then it was my children,
Hmm.
like, my children watching me write that book.
Mhm.
They watch the work that I put in. They watch the commitment. They watch the dedication. They watch the launch. And when you can show your child, hey, we're bestseller, we're number one,
Mhm.
and not just in our country, but in different countries, and you see that dream come around 360, imagine the values that you're instilling in your babies that are watching you, you
Ooh.
know, and how they'll follow their dreams. Because I realized long ago that I'm the first example of how my children are going to treat themselves when they're older.
Hmm.
And I didn't want them to carry on the negative beliefs
Hmm.
that they couldn't do it. If mommy can do it and I can watch mommy do it and I can see her do it, then I know I can do it too. And it may not be a book for them,
Right.
but it will be something.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh,
Hmm.
shivers. That was a good one. All right. Well, thanks for sharing all your experience.
Thank you.
Easy Writer. Guys, if you are watching this and you want more information, I will
Yeah.
plunk down a link. Direct message me, email me, whatever. Get yourself in, because this next
Yeah.
season of Easy Writer actually has a little more than Stacie got, which she's a little bitter about.
I'm a little jealous. I'm a little bit jealous. Like I didn't, they get press releases? What? Like I'm a little bit jealous. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna say that.
and the other thing too as well is that months 6 through 10, this will be a one-time shot in 2019. It's only going to happen one time this way before I break it into two separate things.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for being on again.
Yay.
I really appreciate your input and sharing your experience, because your perspective is exactly where other people are too.